All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another weekly news update. I'm here with Reload founder Steve Gutowski. How are you this week, Steve?
I'm doing all right, Jake. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Some crazy news this week to lead us off here.
Been a busy week.
Yeah, no doubt.
Another one.
There was a assassination attempt on a sitting Supreme Court justice that you wrote a story about. If you want to fill us in on what happened.
Yeah, a story that maybe not a lot of people have heard of at this point, which is kind of bizarre.
Crazy. Yeah.
Right. And this was an actual attempt to kidnap and assassinate Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. That happened on Wednesday morning. And it's gotten, frankly, very little media coverage for some reason. People can speculate as to why. I think one thing is that the way this attempted assassin, frankly, I mean, these are allegations. Obviously, he's in custody and facing charges. But according to an affidavit filed by the FBI, one of the things that may be dampering the media attention, I don't know, it's not really a good excuse, but he turned himself in eventually. But I think that what a lot of people are missing is that it's not as though he had this idea and then turned himself in and was never close to carrying it out. What happened was, according to this affidavit, he showed up at Brett Kavanaugh's house with a gun and a knife and a crowbar and a hammer and zip ties and a tactical vest. He was dressed all in black at 1 a.m. And he approached the house and noticed that there were two U.S. Marshals standing guard outside of it, which he then turned and walked away from the house. And remember, this is all at 1 a.m. It's not like he was touring the area or part of the protest groups that have actually continued to protest outside of his home even after this assassination attempt unfolded yesterday or on Wednesday. It's yesterday. We're filming on Thursday, but yeah, then he went and turned himself in. In fact, he called the police and said that he was had suicidal thoughts and was going to kill a Supreme Court justice.
Right.
And then once he got into police custody, he waived all of his rights and basically explained everything to the police officers and later to the FBI.
Yeah, he was amazingly forthright with the police that just arrested him for a pretty serious crime. Explained to them that he was motivated by the impending overturning of Roe v. Wade, as well as the potential, what he called loosening of gun laws, obviously in reference to the New York State rifle and pistol case that we're awaiting a decision on about New York's may issue carry standard. So it's pretty remarkable that it's an admission that this was a politically motivated almost hit, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
At least according to police, right?
Sure.
This is what is in the affidavit filed by an FBI agent with the court. He's been charged with attempted kidnapping and murder of a Supreme Court justice, which is, I guess, a specific federal crime. I imagine that carries, I guess, more time than just regular attempted kidnapping and murder. But either way, he was very much open in talking to the police about what his motives were, according to this affidavit. And he was explicit. He said that he thought Kavanaugh would be in favor of loosening gun restrictions. And that's why he wanted to kill him. He looked up his address online. He said he wanted to give his life purpose. And so he decided he wanted to murder a Supreme Court justice. And given the weapons he brought along, it sounds like he planned to do it in a fairly brutal manner.
Yeah. As
well. So, he brought along a crowbar and a tactical knife, Glock 17 that he had recently purchased for this express purpose. And he flew across countries from California. And so he flew to Maryland. He took a taxi, apparently, to Kavanaugh's home after, his home's been identified online by some of the people who've been protesting outside of it since the leaked draft of the Dobbs decision, which is the the one expected to overturn Roe v. Wade. Since that was published, there have been people protesting outside of the Supreme Court justices' homes, and some people have posted their home addresses, obviously.
Right.
And so that's how, presumably that's how he found it. We don't know for sure. He found it on the internet, according to the affidavit. But and that's what motivated him. I mean, he's very explicit up front about his views and why he wanted to do this. He's a 26-year-old man from California.
It's certainly a continuing escalation of what we're seeing in terms of trying to influence the court. It starts with a leaked opinion. Then you see protests outside of sitting justices' homes. And now you see an assassination attempt. It's just a continual escalation in this overt politicization of the court. Obviously, controversial, contentious decisions are being heard. So it'll be interesting to see how the court responds, because they still have to release that Dobbs opinion. They still have to release the Bruen opinion. And all in the meantime, we're just seeing crazier and crazier events from the general public. So we'll see how this develops.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good sign for our polity, right? And not for our country that, somebody wanted to murder a Supreme Court justice over there. What they assume their ruling would be on Second Amendment cases. I mean, it's just ratcheting up of the tension that we've seen over the last, several years in the United States when it comes to these contentious issues. And luckily, he was prevented from doing it. I mean, luckily, those U.S. Marshals were there. Frankly, it seems like he very much was ready to go through with it. It's not as though he got to the airport and realized what he was doing was insane. He got to the house, saw that there were armed law enforcement officials outside, and then gave up, which again is not an uncommon thing for somebody who is carrying out an attack like that. You saw this the hospital shooting that was recently, where the man murdered his doctor and 3 other people and killed himself as soon as he met police resistance. And so, this guy luckily wasn't able to go through with his attack. He was discouraged once he saw the presence of security. But that's another interesting thing about the Supreme Court is there's a bill going through Congress to provide more security for the Supreme Court justices. But these guys live in just sort of suburban areas. From the images we've seen of the protests outside their home, they're just in like a fairly normal suburb neighborhood, and sometimes they'll have like uniformed police standing outside on the lawn, but it's not like the White House by any means. Right, it's not some Secret Service detail. Yeah, and you've seen Supreme Court justices who travel without security details and have been robbed in the past. Was it John Paul Stevens, I believe, was robbed twice in the same year, just a few years ago, before he retired. And I mean, it's a little precarious, the security of the Supreme Court justices. Although, I know it's at the very least, I don't recall if there have been Supreme Court justices assassinated in the past. There may have been, but certainly it's been a very long time. Right. And hopefully we don't get back to that era. We certainly, the 1960s was an era of both rioting and political assassination, right? And great social upheaval. Hopefully we're not moving into that time period again, although crime is way up. We had rioting recently, and now we've had an attempted assassination plot that was almost carried out. Right. So I don't know. Hopefully we can reverse course as a country and stop going down this path, because it's not a pretty one.